Ladies and gentlemen, you may remember Shawn Wilson from Mayhem Solutions Group. Now, we highlighted him and the great work he and his team are doing out there in Arizona a few weeks ago with Lara Logan's hit show, No Agenda. We've got Shawn with us today because there are some things happening in Arizona we want to share with you. Shawn, thanks for being with us. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Hey, Jason, how are you?
Good, good. Tell the folks what's going on.
So we're getting reports of some civilian activity with possible cartel members shooting at civilians out in the middle of the desert, out in the Vico Valley area, which has been kind of untouched to enforcement because Maricopa County has done away with their drug task force. So there's no enforcement down there on the I-8. And this area is north of the I-8 along the highway there that goes to San Diego through Arizona, which is a major drug corridor. So we have civilians reporting that they're being shot at in the middle of the desert to try to keep them out of an area where the cartel is operating and pushing a lot of drugs to South Phoenix through the desert.
Can you describe the area a little bit? There may be some people that aren't familiar. Arizona has, I guess it's BLM land, is that right? Where you can drive your side-by-sides and your four-wheelers off into the desert?
This area in particular is a mixture of different lands. There's private lands there, there's BLM land there, there's state trust land there. There's some Indian reservation is there. We have two Indian reservations in the area, the Gila River Indian Reservation and the Tohono O'odham Indian Reservation, which is south of the I-8, where all the drugs are coming through. They actually come through the res I would say that the res butts up to the I-8 about 5 miles away, and that's the destination that they're trying to get to either cross that highway or get to the highway so they can distribute the drugs on the road, either east and west or north of that location.
And when you say res, you're talking about, so I guess it's a reservation. Is that what it is?
There's two Indian reservations, but the main one where all the drugs are coming from the border, because the reservation is actually in two countries. It's in Mexico and the United States. And there's very minimal border enforcement there because they consider themselves a sovereign nation in both countries. So there isn't any kind of, they have a fence there and a gate. They don't have a port of entry there. But people can go freely between the two countries, and there's little to no enforcement or anything stopping the cartel from pushing. And they know this, so that's why they use that area for narcotics trafficking. That's why it's the biggest portal or area or plaza on the border to deliver the drugs into Arizona.
And so, when we talk about these shootouts that have been happening between citizens and I guess cartel guides or scouts, as you call them, how far from the border are they?
So we're approximately anywhere between 70 and 80 miles from the border, this area here.
Where the shootouts are actually happening at U.S. citizens.
Yes. So we have what they call scouts. There's a mountain range, there's a flat area, a desert, where they're traveling in a huge wash, the Vico Wash. It's as wide as a 6-lane highway, and they move in that wash because it's in the low spot of the desert, and they usually don't have sensors or cameras down there, so that's why they move in those areas. But they're using that wash to move north across the I-8, and this area is heavily protected by armed cartel scouts and mules and coyotes and people providing security. We've even seen ultralights providing aerial security in that area, and they fly out of Akchin Airport, which is an Indian reservation airport where they have hang gliders and ultralights and small aircraft.
And which cartel are these scouts linked to? I guess it's all Sinaloa there.
Yes, this is predominantly Sinaloa cartel area, but we do have intel that the other cartel is moving in the area because there's a huge battle in this area along the Arizona border for control of the plaza. So Zambada and Los Chapitos are fighting for these plazas in Arizona between Yuma and all the way to Nogales. So there's a big battle between those cartels right now for control of those plazas. So you have different factions of both of those groups pushing dope and human smuggling through those areas.
And what about local or state or even federal law enforcement? Are they doing anything as a result of these shootings that have been happening?
So I don't know if they're made aware of it yet. I haven't had a conversation I only had a conversation with one person. I'm going to take it to my other partners that we deal with and let them know what's going on. But everything is pretty much stretched really thin in Arizona. You were here, you saw for yourself. They don't have the enforcement here like they do in Texas. They don't have the air assets like they do in Texas. You know, we don't have helicopters like we should. I mean, they should be utilizing air assets and drones a lot more in this area, especially with the heavy drug trafficking and human trafficking that's going on in these areas. And the groups that we're seeing now are record numbers. I mean, you're having 100 to 200 people plus in a group just coming across the border or moving across the border and just sitting and waiting for Border Patrol to take them. So right now we're seeing unprecedented amounts of people and drugs coming across the border in Arizona.
Well, I was just looking at the stats here just to give an example. Last week alone in Tucson sector, just Tucson sector, you had 4,001 people apprehended. You had 353 turnbacks and gotaways, which are those people who were seen via a sensor or sign or by an agent, 3,326. I mean, Shawn, you're averaging almost at this point in just 1 week, for every one apprehended, you're almost losing one into the country.
Yep. And those numbers are just for humans. That's not including drugs. Yeah. So if you're getting a load of 1,000 pounds of narcotics stopped on the highway, can you just imagine what's going through? There's lanes of trails that go through the desert from the reservation. I mean, dozens of them. And they're all operating, pushing dope into Arizona, north to South Phoenix. And they're not being stopped. I mean, we're talking tons of dope.
Yeah, it's a real mess. I'll tell you, well, will you keep us informed to let us know so we can keep telling the folks what's really happening since it's not getting out?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to try to, put it out there and let people know, because I don't think people really understand the magnitude of what's really happening and how it's going to affect our society and our communities.
Yeah, no doubt. Folks, if you want to reach out to Shawn, reach out to him at Mayhem Solutions Group. Shawn, is there any other contact information?
We have a Facebook page. We have a LinkedIn page. You can reach us through there. Messenger on Facebook. Our website at www.mayhemsolutionsgroup.com.
All right, buddy. Thanks for letting folks know what's really happening out there and keep us up to date, would you?
Thanks, Jason.
Good talking to you. Be safe, buddy.